to take on the recap of last session as we get ready to go into this one?
I will gladly do it.
You don't want to share? Anybody else want to try? No?
No, I like when Doug does it.
Okay. Take it away.
Last time, on a brave new world, the adventurers found themselves in a pickle. Inside a house where they were to have a nice evening dinner. They found nothing but bodies, made to look like they had done the killing themselves. Troops and footsteps echoed behind them. As Stallion went to the door, shouts of fire also rang in the crowd. Chaos was emerging. What do they do? Upon entering and coming up with a plan, the plan was thrown out the window the moment Layla mentioned that someone at the council was in on this, and they were being framed by the higher-ups. Out through the back door, the group went. Upon leaving the back door, Zurich performed a miraculous spell that the group had not seen yet, that gave them enough time to jump over the wall. Upon jumping over the wall, what did they see in the crowd through the alley was none other than Elise, who was already standing beside them. Giving chase quickly, Layla sped past her, followed by Zurich using another spell. Following suit, the adventurers tracked down the imposter. They were starting to believe this one who framed them. Zurich paralyzing the creature, allowing Thalia to grapple them, gave them time to try and get things situated, but the creature broke free of the spell and broke Thalia's grip. Put her to sleep, Thalian shouted. Elise listened, not realizing that the spell would also affect everyone else around them. The creature escaped as Thalian woke up Zurich and helped a nearby commoner wake up his wife. Splitting up at this point, Thalian, the girls, and Zurich ran back towards the Crown and Rose. While Layla, or Kira, I should say, and Droman chased after what they only believe now could be the doppelganger that they had read about in notes from earlier adventures. Giving suit, Layla and Droman did catch up to the creature, and persuading some commoners to assist, they managed to take the creature down at a cost. While the others managed to find their way into the Crown and Rose with help from someone that Zurich had met in the past. Thanks to this, the group was eventually able to speak with, I'm spacing on names right now, Roger and Dury, after evading the guards. Droman arrived back with dire news and attempted to interrogate this shape-shifting creature. Thalian, falling to this creature's goading, knocked them out, sparking anger. Once the creature came to again, he continued to mess with them. Not giving no answers, only telling them, "You're too late." The creature then killed himself, leaving everyone confused. What do they do now? They had to get out. Roger and their new friend that they met aided them by taking them to a nearby house outside the town where they can recuperate and figure out their next plan. Upon
All right, well done. Give yourself a point of inspiration.
Very nicely done, Doug.
We're going to drop everybody back onto the Braybird map here. So Stallion's calling back as he's looking into the sky and seeing the strangest thing. What looks like an eclipse within an eclipse. Let me see if I can find the picture. I had the picture, now it's gone. Alright, here we go. Put it in the... What you immediately notice about this stallion is that as you look up, the sun itself seems muted. It is not a bright white, sort of like what you would know today, like where we live, as an eclipse, to where you need protection. You can actually stare up at this and see that it itself is sort of this undulating mask of light that almost seems to be growing tendrils and stopping as if it's flaring out and coming in. In front of it, you see the moon blotted out in that dark black, but they're ever present in this sort of strange celestial aberration is the black moon Gorgrith. And just something isn't right about this. Immediately you look behind you to sort of call out to your friends, and the first thing you notice is the farmer. The old man who took you in, let you stay in the basement, fed you, staring up at the sun, but his face is slack, and he is not moving.
Oh, no.
On the ground, sort of covering his eyes and his face, is the man you know as Lucian. And he's sort of rocking back and forth on the ground, covering his eyes.
Lucian, what's wrong?
Don't stare at it. Whatever you do, don't stare at it. I tried to rouse him, but he couldn't, and as I looked upon it... And he sort of takes his hands away from his eyes, and he looks at you, and you can see he's sort of fighting this pain, and his eyes are completely bloodshot, as if all the vessels within have sort of burst, and just out around his sort of iris is just a sea of dark red blood, where his eyes have just been bleeding from the force.
Everyone, upstairs, now. And whatever you do, don't look at the sky. Or the moon, I should say.
My natural curiosity and studious nature would force me to take a glance at what he said not to look at the very least.
You look up and you see the same thing. You see the moon blotting out the sun, and in front of that, I couldn't get the color right. In front of that, where the black moon is, you see what seems to be a shade of sort of bluish green is what this inner iris. It eerily looks like a light, but the sort of white around the edges sort of flares out, almost like sun flares, like back and forth before they dissipate. And it's just this sort of very unnatural phenomenon because it's too early in the year for Gorgrith to be seen. You, being of the Brahmanan Empire, know that Gorgrith, the Black Moon, comes out in the fall, the witching month and the witching week. And so this is strangely odd.
Yeah, this is the opposite time of the year, right? Because we just celebrated a planting festival, I think, recently, which would be that it's spring, right?
Yes, it is. It is still now getting into spring proper, as it's still the month of Kareth.
Do I feel anything in my mind or whatnot by looking at it briefly?
How long are you going to look at?
In order to gauge what's happening, what it might be doing. So, like, in order to study its effect and learn something about it. So the moment I would feel some kind of, I don't know how to explain it. The moment I would feel it affect me somehow, I would stop looking so that I could document the feeling.
I will let you use either a Arcana check or a Nature check.
Okay, fair enough. I'll use Arcana. At -1, because I'm still at -1.
Okay, now give me a Charisma saving throw. You start to look, and then you immediately begin to sort of watch the two coronas around the two black dots in this sort of stark, dark gray, almost blackish sky. And you believe it's morning, and everything about this is so confusing. Thalion, you look over as Xerac sort of looks up, and then you begin to watch his face begin to turn slack. But his lips are moving as if he's thinking to himself.
I'm going to try and force him to look away. I say, "What did I just say?"
How do you force him?
I'll try and reach for the back of his head and force it to look downward.
Xerac, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
You take 9 points of psychic damage.
Oh.
As Thalion wrenches your face away, and it's the strangest sensation. You feel your face being pushed downwards, but you can literally feel your eye rolling in your head, keeping the same sort of positioning the whole time before it snaps, and then it comes back in. Thalion, you watch as Xerac sort of covers his eyes now. Your eyes beginning to throb. They feel extremely dry. They hurt like a motherfucker, and you've got like this little headache that's beginning to grow. You sort of look up, and everything is somewhat blurry. After a while, it begins to sort of dim, and sort of like a haze settles in. Right now, everything is lightly obscured in your vision.
Okay, that's fair. So do I snap out of it enough to like regain my own senses after he pulls my eyes away?
The pain was enough to sever the connection. You sort of look up at Thalion. As he looks at you and Thalion, you see that his eyes are just red orbs around where his pupils are.
Are you okay?
So I would start kind of rubbing my eyes and letting them tear up a bit, and then I would say, well, thank you for pulling me away. I just wanted to get an idea of what it might be doing to those who are entranced by it, but I couldn't break my own vision away. This is serious.
And with your 11 Arcana check, you know that eclipses are commonplace. They actually happen a multitude of times per year. And during times of eclipses, they're what considered to be strong magical focuses. But in your lifetime and in the certain texts that you've read, you cannot ever recall seeing something happening with both moons and the sun in the peak of day.
With such a rare astronomical event, I fear the weave could be poisonous or dangerous. That maybe the veil between realms could be thin, and any number of things could be possible at this time. I suggest, Valeria, you say a prayer for all of us.
She said a prayer, just to the lady. Please keep us safe.
Do me a favor. Do they have? They don't have percentage dice on here, do they?
No, but you could roll a D100.
Just a D100. Do me a favor, roll a D100. Okay. You sort of call out to the darkness. It seems to be growing as sort of time progresses through here. No immediate answer. What are you guys gonna do?
Whatever we're gonna do, guys, I think we're gonna have to do it quickly. Maybe we should do Droman's plan and check out the rest of that cave. Something tells me a ritual is being performed right now.
You know, it hasn't already been done. This could be what is left of the ritual.
My thought, and I'm just drawing on, I don't know if this is something Zarak would know. I know. Usually, a ritual wouldn't cause an astronomical event. An astronomical event would be something that would enhance or precipitate the ritual. So if there is a ritual being done, it's probably taking advantage of this event in order to strengthen it. I think, in my opinion, Thalian's advice that we should try and search out a ritual in progress is probably correct.
We have no time. Let's get ready to go then.
But it is strange that moon, the black moon, should not be visible on this side of the planet at this time of year. Something is screwy with both time and space, it seems.
Lucian, are you gonna be okay? Are you able to move?
He moves his eyes again, and you see now his palms covered with crimson. And you look and you see the smudge under both eyes of blood as it seems to be coming down his face, almost in tears.
Stay inside, please. Don't want to risk anything more happening to you. You've done enough for us. But can we?
He just gives you a shaky breath, and just kind of nods his head.
If you don't mind, we're gonna borrow your cart to sneak back into the town.
Take it. It is fine.
While we're doing that, I'm gonna ask the group if I tie a piece of cloth around my eyes just until we get where we're going. Can somebody please make sure I don't fall or get lost? I want to try to rest my eyes as much as possible before we get
in the back of the cart.
Yeah, that's what I just want to try to rest them until we get to where we're going, and I need them again because I want to try to heal them as quickly as I can. And plus, my head really freaking hurts because that was a lot of psychic damage. I have 5 hit points left, so I'm nearly dead from the headache.
Hey,
You didn't heal up?
drink my health potion.
Did you heal up over the long rest last night?
Yeah, but I only have 14 health total.
Oh.
Wizard. Taking 9 is almost killing me. But that's okay. I'm a wizard. That's my role. I'm supposed to have low hit points.
You're 14 at our level?
At 3rd level. I'm 3rd level still. Yeah. I get it. 3d6 is... my max would be 18 possible.
Okay, so you guys hurriedly gather your things, bring them up from the basement. Thalia and Valeria, both of you have the most sort of knowledge when it comes to getting horses and wagons sort of strapped down and ready to go, and you guys get everything ready. You put the draft horse, hook it up to the bridles, and then everybody sort of climbs in, not worrying really about the need of secrecy, and you guys begin to storm off down the road at a fast pace. Valeria, since you're now proficient with land vehicles after your long journey to the west and back, you don't need any sort of survival check for this, as you're on a well-maintained road, and you guys are making good pace. After about 20 minutes, you guys see the town of Brayburn itself, or the city of Brayburn itself, sort of growing larger as the skyline begins to sort of rise and meet you, and after about an hour, you make it into the sort of city limits proper. And then what you see now, the closer you get to the city, is sort of a frightening sight. Standing outside of all their homes, lined up on the roads, you're watching as hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people are just staring, slack-faced, not moving, up into the sky.
Remember, everyone, whatever you do, do not look up.
You think Roger and Dury's alright?
So,
That's a good question. Oh,
Hopefully they're not stuck looking at that thing in the sky.
because we did this pretty quick, Mark. Is Dala with us, or did we leave her inside?
Alright, you guys left her there.
Okay, just making sure. Probably would have told her to try to tend to Lucian before we left in the rush. Okay, guys.
So you would have actively tried to find.
No, if I saw her, I would have.
You didn't see her.
Okay. All right. Do we want to head straight to the cave in a rush, or should we check on Roger and see if he can aid us?
I think we're on our own right now.
Alrighty.
Well, we also don't know if it's safe to go back. Remember what Roger said? Those guards are probably gonna come back looking for
We're in
us
the town already,
if they're
Marcy.
not stuck staring at that thing.
Elise, as you say this, make a perception check. So as you say this, you immediately begin to look around, and interspersed between all the regular farmers, merchants, and just everyday citizens, you do see the standing guard of Brayburn, all just sort of staring up at the sky, slack-mouthed, and for the first time, other than the sound of the clopping hooves of the horse, your friends talking, and the sound of the wagon sort of creaking and rumbling, there is no other noise. It is
That's not
insanely
eerie.
quiet.
It's dead silent, you guys. Did you notice that?
The sound of the river sort of grows the closer you get. As you go down the road, nobody pays attention to any of you. You sort of stare up, and they're just... It's in a very sort of The Happening kind of ways. Everybody is just sort of standing still, but their gaze is drawn towards the sky.
Alright then. To the cave. Let's find the source quickly.
Yeah, since nobody seems to notice us because they're all entranced by that thing in the sky, so I guess now, no time like the present. Let's do this.
It seems that let's get to the cave. But while we're getting there, Zarak is kind of tossing an argument around inside his own head. I haven't really shared with my group the full effects of, or the full benefit of my spellbook yet. But I'm considering that we may need some guidance here to be sure we're on the right path. But I'll since my eyes and my head still kind of hurt a bit, I'll wait till we get to the relative safety of the cave.
Okay, you guys thunder past the Crown and Rose and see that the doors are open, but there seems to be no activity. You notice that there are some familiar faces sort of standing along the outside, but they are the faces of the guests that you have seen sort of take rental over the rooms within. You see the barmaid, or the bartender, sort of standing out there in his leather apron as he sort of slack-faced looked up at the sky. No sign of Roger, no sign of Dury. You guys power through just in time as you catch a glimpse of Thomas, the stable boy, standing looking up at the sky. Making your best, you sort of slow down as now the people here have become thicker as you sort of enter the lamp burrow. Valyria, and trying your best not to hit anybody, nudge anybody, but it's quite hard. And you guys almost slow down to like a snail's pace as you try to guide around these people inside this wagon, slowly making your way towards the bridge. Here you look at the walls of the castle and you see the guards, all staring up at the sky. You all catch a glimpse of the chained up form of Layla hanging above the gate. In front of the gate, on her knees looking up at Layla, you see a figure sort of cloaked, slumped, sad, while everybody else just sort of stands around the main square, staring up into the sky.
Dala, is that you?
She is dead.
She sort of turns her head slowly as you guys sort of stop and look, and you do see that it is Dala. Her eyes are sort of bloodshot and red, but not as bad as Zarak's would be, but her eyes are incredibly puffy, her skin pale. There's a sort of lifeless, doll-like, sort of just no emotion coming from her face as she looks and then just turns her head back to look at the upper gate.
You said she's chained?
Layla? So imagine a scarecrow, hands out to the sides. So Kira has chains sort of all about her arms and up along her chest, and she's sort of hung up over the gate in this general, right near the top. And you can see that there is a wooden placard that goes from the length of shoulder to shoulder, and you do see some red writing on it. She's a good like 30, 35 feet up.
I really don't like leaving her up there, but I know we're in a rush. Valeria, what do you think?
I think we must hurry, but we probably should grab Dala and take her with us. We can deal with Kira's body when we stop what's going on. I mean, she's not going anywhere.
Would one of you like to try and convince her to help end all this so we can come
I
back
think,
for her?
yeah, I think we should definitely try and see if Dala will come with us. For now, I don't think it's wise for us to bring a dead body in the cart.
Would you like
Or
to...
necessary
how long
to
it's
take
going
the
to take
time.
us.
He
Yeah,
said
we're
she
kind
was
of
30
already
feet
cramped.
up. That's pretty high up. It would probably
Mhm.
take a while to get her down from there.
Not to mention, it's going to be very difficult since we can't look up to the top chains, not without making contact with whatever that thing is in the sky.
Elise, do you want to try and convince her?
I can try. So can I walk up to, or are we going to stop the cart?
No, the cart stopped as you guys sort of
Yeah.
hit the brakes as you sort of saw the scene.
So I'm gonna go keep my head down, put my little scarf thing over my head so I don't look at the thing in the sky, and walk up to Dala and be like, "Hey, Dala, are you okay?" I mean,
You hear a
Besides Layla.
very defeated and hollow reply. It's one that she always used to say, with a lot of mirth and like a lot of happiness in her voice, and she just says, "I'm fine."
I know this is a little bit hard for you, with the situation with Layla, but would you like to come with us? That way you're at least safe, and maybe we can figure out a way to stop all of this from happening, so we can put Layla to rest better and not leave her like this.
I think I'll stay a while. I don't want to leave her again.
Okay. Well, we're going back to those caves that we went to before, so we're gonna try and stop all of this from getting worse. I'm pretty sure Layla will be alright, but if you're absolutely sure you'd rather stay here, just don't look up at the sky, okay?
And you hear this sort of, kind of like, it's a sad sort of laugh. Just, she always gets into so much trouble when I'm not around.
Yeah.
I gotta keep an eye on her.
Mm-hmm. I think Layla would have been long lost without you. Alright, well, if you're absolutely sure you don't want to join us, then we
sort
shall
of
come back.
You begin to take your steps going back. And you can see now are just starting to sort of shake. And they start to really sort of quake and shiver as she kind of rolls in on herself. There's no sound that comes out as she's just sort of hugging her stomach. But as you sort of step away and finally sort of like look away and go back to the wagon, yeah, she's not in the best of shape.
You guys, Dala is going to stay with Layla. She's not looking too great, but she absolutely is adamant about not leaving Layla. So I don't think she's going to be willing to come with us.
I think
She looks pretty.
We wouldn't need to have her slow us down anyway if she isn't willing to keep up.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't think she could keep up with her emotional state. I think you're right, Zeriak. She would slow us down, unfortunately, or end up dying. Oh, I just hope she doesn't die out there.
Alright, then. Let's get
Time to
going.
go.
You guys, Elise, you jump back in. Valeria snaps the reins, and you guys begin to move again through the crowd now of the sort of noble and merchant class of Brayburn, here through the Crystal Fair district. Still sort of making sure you avoid the worst of the traffic, going around and sort of going through the pockets, and the horse kind of naturally sort of nudging the sort of unanimated people in front of you off to the side as you guys kind of move about. You reach the end of the cobbled roadways until you're at last sort of along the riverbank, the familiar site of the round bend that led you to the hidden cavern that you guys had found.
As we pull up, before we jump out, I ask Elise, Zerek, and Joman, since they're the ones in the back, I'm assuming, if there's any potions in this cart or if they have any extra on them. I think we're going to be needing them.
I have 3 potions on me, just in case.
As do I.
Potions on me.
I drank my only potion of healing in order to end the pain in my head, so I'm out.
I have 1 potion of elixir of health, which removes.
I have one of those as well, Drummond.
It's been about 2 hours, Zerek.
I
And
have
during that time, go ahead.
I have 2 health potions and 2 poison relieving herbal tea things. So I don't know. That's any constellation.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh, Zerek, it's been about 2 hours now, and the throbbing has finally sort of gone down. Like it's like that. It's like a migraine sort of pain where you feel the back of your eyes, sort of throbbing in unison with your temples, and after about 2 hours, it begins to subside. Your vision clears. The haze sort of gone as you sort of blink away. Those of you who are sort of watching him now sort of open his eyes sort of freely a little bit. Can see that for the most part the bloodshotness is somewhat dissipated, but it's leaving almost like a corona around his pupil, flaming the sort of
Too much
yellowish cat eye with the white.
Yes, too much of the herb, it looks like at this point, but I'll be fine. I will remove my blindfold and yeah, I'm feeling much better.
I will hand Zerek one of my health potions, and I glance around the back of the cart just to see if there's any just out in the open. I'm not gonna hunt for any, but
You look on the back of the cart, and where the smuggler's sort of slat was pulled back, you can see that it's just barrels covered with a canvas, and you sort of just open up, and then you just see it's more barrels. There's no health potions, just sort of lying about.
alright. Let's get going.
Thank you for the potion of healing, Thalion. That should come in handy.
Those of you looking for it, I need a perception check.
You
Well,
need me
give-
to roll the perception too?
Don't know what it is. Look, am I looking for?
You guys are looking for the entrance to the cave, which was covered in a sort of hallucinatory terrain spell that you guys just managed to find because Garshadow had a scent on the goblin. No goblin scent, nothing to follow. So you guys are trying to look for this cave entrance now with nothing but your own sense.
I'm gonna try and see if Garshadow can figure it out again too. Come on, Garshadow.
Drummond, you're watching around as everybody else is sort of like smacking the side of the hillside along the cliff, trying to find the entrance to see where it is. You automatically get drawn to a series of what seem to be divots that are somewhat unnatural compared to the rest of the bank that you guys are walking across. You go through and find the divot, and they almost look like drag marks. And you sort of trace your steps from there, and you do manage to stick your hand out when it passes through a section of wall.
I'll turn to the party and be like, I found it. Here it is.
You guys watch as Droman says, I found it, and then he kind of steps in to kind of show you guys where it's at.
I'll follow with Garshadow.
Okay, give me a second. I gotta pull your tokens up. Chris, I'm gonna put Layla's token on the map just so you can move around. So don't mind Layla, it's Ghost Layla. Okay, you guys should be on the top right-hand corner. That should be everybody's token.
Mark, can you do me a favor and move me to the front of my light spell?
There you go. Back in the sort of familiar, musky, damp, moldy, and sort of just pervading wet mud smell, just sort of oozing through this area. The breeze sort of coming in back behind you through the opening. Where would you guys like to go?
I'm going to try to lead us from memory to where we fought that weird undead sand thing.
Okay, so just to sort of expedite things, the yellow lines are the places that you guys have explored. So I will leave it up to you guys which yellow line you follow.
token too fast.
Holy light spells, Batman. Valeria, do you have your light bauble on you? Dalian, you begin to round the corner, sort of squishing through the mud, and you see up ahead there's about a 5-foot shelf where it just elevates almost like a platform to another tunnel going off to the west as you begin to make the
If I remember correctly, I think our routes was down, but I could be wrong. So if anybody remembers anything, other than
Just don't let us run into those tentacle things, okay?
Keep going down. I think the top shelf is a dead end.
come up to another intersection. You look to the west, or what you look to your right, Valiant. You see that further down the tunnel splits in two, going up and down, and then further down it continues, and you sort of lose vision around the couple curves at the very end. But there, sort of in the wall, the familiar hole that you remember that this is where the goblin made his entrance.
that's right, and I think we ended up following it to the left.
Around the corner, and you find a dead end.
I was wrong. We either went up and around, or we went down those steps.
I think we went up and around. I think the path down this way. I don't think we went down that way. I think that's the path.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think that was the place where we all almost died.
Okay.
I think we went that way and didn't follow through because we went up and around, which then we crossed that little area we had to jump across with the water, and then that led.
Mark, I want to listen in the silence of the caves and see if I can hear any chanting or casting of any kind, or get a feel that the weave is being manipulated in any way.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check. Drummond, you look down and there's about a 7-foot, some places 10, drop off where it goes down into another tunnel that continues.
Yep, we want to go down.
Yep, I do remember this.
Yeah, it's not where Layla jumped down into the darkness.
You
that's gonna
open
be
your
it.
senses, Zirak, and you can hear the dripping of water, what sounds like moving water, and the sloshing of your companion's footsteps in the mud. And that's really all you're able to pick up.
Okay. It was worth a try, just trying to get a sense of any evil that might be down here in the dark.
Dalian, you look ahead and there's about a 5 to 7 foot gap over what seems to be a chasm. The closer you get, you pick up the sounds of water trickling and moving.
Okay, yep, I remember this. I knew...
And you see that it is a good 20 feet down the closer you get.
Didn't do fair so well last time.
Yeah, I think I had to catch you, because I know I can make this jump. Elise can fly over.
Yep, me and Drummond can fly over. He's got his bug wings.
Oh, crap. Does anyone have any rope?
Yes, I brought rope.
Okay, good. Hand me one end. I can make this jump easily, and then those who will have trouble, we can have them put the rope around themselves, and then they can try to make the jump. If there's an issue, I'll be holding it on my end with Guard Shadow helping, keeping me steady.
I'll go ahead and hand you the...
Okay, while Droman is still on that side, I'll hold on to one end of it and jump across and have Guard Shadow follow.
Okay. What's Garshadow's strength score?
He's got a 14 strength, but I believe he has a high leap.
I'm gonna start tying Zirak to the rope like a carnival ride person. Like, all right, keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. No photographs, and if the gift shops to the...
Okay, no problem. Zirak, you begin to get secured around your waist with the rope.
I can just imagine
As
Ziriak
my
over there,
body is
like, if
still
I had my
feeling-
flight spell.
I'm still feeling slightly weak from having, died 3 days ago. And I have a 7 strength, so I can only jump 7 feet if I run 10 feet. Yeah, not a fond memory. But thanks for tying me up, Droman. That makes me feel much more secure. And I think we're heading back to the very same room in which I died, which is just fantastic.
Are you going first, Zirak?
Droman, you have me secured to you? Is that what you're securing me to?
So, Dalian's got a rope on the other side, and you're gonna jump. If you miss, you're secured by the rope to the other side.
So just go ahead and give me, with Dalian on the other end, ready to sort of like jerk you across. As soon as you leap into the air, go ahead and just give me an athletics check with advantage.
Okay, I'll do that.
As he begins to pull on the rope, timing his hand speed with your run. Dalian,
Yep.
I need a strength saving throw.
Okay, and I am using Guard Shadow to help brace me with each of their jumps.
Yeah, he's holding on to you like your belt, but this is all your arm strength.
I'm pretty much just dead weight at this point.
And you said a saving throw?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so you manage not to let out any slack as Zirak sort of hits the like chest to like corner of the drop off as he sort of like hands out and he sort of slips through the mud and begins going down. You let out no slack as the rope was trying to sort of squeeze out of your hands a little bit, and you begin to pull him up slowly with Garshadow's help holding onto your body to kind of steady you as you sort of just muscle him up. Zirak, you're a little bit muddy, but you made the jump.
I turn around and say, I thank Garshadow and Thalion for helping me, and then I say, it has been 3 days since I've done my push-ups, and I brush some of the mud off of me and move out of the way.
I pat you on the shoulder and I say, once this is all over, I'll show you another exercise you can do for that upper body strength. And then I'm going to try and toss the end that was tied around Zirak back over so Valeria can use that.
Easy enough. Throw it around. Valeria, do you just sort of tie it onto yourself?
Yeah. I'm gonna try to be secure about it, and then I'm gonna try to jump.
Okay, give me an athletics check with advantage.
Oh my god!
Thalion, give me another strength saving throw. And you manage to hit the save right on the button because hers is a little harder because of her heavy armor. But you manage to halt it, and you feel your feet sort of dig into the ground as you hear Garshadow sort of yowl with his mouth closed as he has his mouth sort of bitten around the belt of your pants. And you begin to pull Valeria up with her help. Valeria, the entire front of your entire front side, you got mud on your face, you're dirty. But you look down at the water with the help of your light, and you see that there's beginning to be ripples of movement all along the surface, and you manage to climb yourself out of there with the help of Thalion.
I blame the dark astronomical event that's happening right now for sapping all of our...
And I kind of...
Elise is just going to fly over.
As Elise does that, I kind of look to Droma and I'll toss the rope over because I'm not sure how his cloak works and not sure if he wants to waste it yet.
Sure, I'll tie the rope on and I'll make a jump.
Droma, go ahead and give me an athletics check with advantage. Easy enough. Whoosh. You jump into the air and you feel the tug from Thalion. You manage to keep your sort of balance as you kind of float through the air and then land on the other side with a skid. Unfasten the rope. So that's 1, 2, 3 people with the rope. So that's about 3 feet of the stickiness at the end having to be sort of cut off.
No, this was a hemp rope.
Oh, the regular rope? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I managed to get that from my room when we left.
Okay. I won't even worry about the length on the hemp rope. Okay, Zirak, you begin to sort of move down. You saw where it split to the right and the left. As you begin to move to the right, you look down and you see that there's another sort of chasm, but the closer you get, you see that this one's only actually a 4-foot drop off to get to the bottom. And here you see that it splits right and left again.
I will kind of move myself up against the wall and motion for Thalion to take the lead. Since I'm still feeling kind of weak, I don't want to be in the front.
You guys watch as Thalion begins to move down out of sight.
Here? Or do we go left? I don't know anymore.
Go straight down.
You see an outcropping of rock, Thalion, that you can remember, and your eyes immediately get jotted down, and you see that there is a hole. And the closer you get, you see the decomposing body of the dwarf that you guys left down here. The stench, the closer you get, is almost unbearable. As you look on the body, and just because of the dampness of this place, like, it's managed to suck in moisture like a sponge, and it's all different hues of colors, and it is just rancid.
I forgot to grab him when we rushed out with Zurich.
Have time to
Poor
think.
guy.
It was just we were like we had to go to before he ended up like
Well, the guy never stood a chance. Wandered down here like all drunk, so.
I think somebody brought him here. They tore out his heart and
He was a
ritual.
victim of the ritual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys go ahead and clump yourselves up, and then I'll move you to the next room.
It's all black. Are you getting characters on the screen?
Yes, give me a second. Okay, you round the corner. As you make your way down, and you see and clearly remember the steps that sort of descended and descended and descended into darkness. You guys go further and further and further and further down, till eventually, after about what seems to be 10 minutes of descent, you look down and you see the large steel wooded banded doors set along the marble columns. You see that the door is closed.
I still see darkness.
Yeah, I still see a black screen as well.
Really? Oh, fucking idiot. Sorry. I pasted you on the wrong layer.
I had a feeling.
Better?
Better.
Yep, I can see now.
Yes,
You guys are all,
I can
you guys
see
are
it.
all messed up on the screen, so you'll have to fix yourselves up where you guys want to be. But yeah, further down you see the sort of platform, and you see that the doors down here have been closed.
You said they've been closed?
Yes.
Mark, for some reason, I don't think I'm centered on a square, but it's not too far off. I just don't know why that could be.
It looks like you have an orb or something you're moving as well.
I am. It's my light spell. I move
There you
it
go.
with me.
Try that.
Okay.
So
that looks good.
when you move them as a group, it like makes a new square for both of them.
Isn't this the death tomb?
This thing was a pain.
You guys clearly remember
Yes.
these doors as they were unadorned. They're just very plain. The craftsmanship that was used to make them, however, was quite exquisite. They seem polished, almost at odds with the sort of environment that you're kind of standing around in this sort of dirty cave exterior. But it has been closed.
I remember this was a pain to open, but I'm going to try and push it open again.
Go ahead and give me a strength check since you want to do this by yourself.
Strength in numbers, Sailing. You always say strength in numbers.
Well, I was kind of hoping someone was going to lean in with me.
I don't think
I mean,
we
I
want to
could
die
try.
by any other sand monsters. We're all
Okay,
gonna
both of you can either roll or one of you can roll with advantage.
Sailing can roll with advantage.
It takes you a while. These doors are freaking heavy. Exerting yourself for about a minute, you finally hear the and both of you just sort of sweating and shaking as you push these massive doors open for what seems like an eternity. Whoops. But they do finally open. As the door opens, again the familiar sort of whoosh, 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 whoosh of these braziers illuminating with this sort of magical fire. You guys look at the familiar sand floor. You look down at your feet, Dalian, and you look at the grate where the sand seems to be pouring into. And everything is quiet.
One look at the sand, and I am not excited about re-entering this room. I'm going to walk up to the door, and staying at the door, I would like to cast a spell on the door.
Okay.
Before you do that, if you're getting ready to, I kind of put my hand up and say, it's not the door. It's the sand that rose up last time.
Oh, I know. I just want to make sure that the door doesn't slam shut and lock me out if I stay at the door. I'm going to utilize the same magic that I used before. It can hold a door closed or open. So
You're gonna cast this in 1 minute bursts.
no, I'm going to concentrate it on it for up to 1 minute and to see what happens in the next minute.
Okay, you cast the spell, and you hold concentration as you watch as Dromond sort of makes his way in quietly. Valyria following in. They both.
My
sort of stop.
intention here is essentially I'm going to stand outside the room. What I was afraid of is a Legozo trick where, you go into the room and the door's fucking shut and you can't get in or out and the monster kills you all.
Oh, you mean like what happened to poor Zeriak 3 days ago?
Yeah, well, I guess the door is shut on us, so I'm holding
because the door's
door
shut on
open so
us.
that I can see what's going on from outside the room.
The
Or
door
Kind
what
of role
happened-
playing.
Or what happened to Avelos? What happened to Avelos and Bree when they ran for the treasure?
Yes. So I'm holding
Exactly.
the door open with magic so that I can stand outside the room and still help. If the
Okay.
door starts closed, I may jump into the
as
room.
you're saying that, Zarek, Dalian is once more reminding you, the door did not shut, the sand rose up and went solid. So that's.
And as he says that, Zirak for the first time, you really look down and you see that underneath the door itself, and you can kind of see it there, it seems to be like a finely cut diamond grate with multiple holes, and you can see on the inside here, flowing into the grate in a slow trickle, is the sand. And it seems to be going down into the grate.
That's what we want to stop, not the door, but the sand.
Well, okay. So I'm watching this from outside the relative safety of outside the room, and I'll stay here for a few minutes until
the minute passes, and you re-strengthen, recasting it again, making sure that you have a hold of the door.
Yep.
But again here, everything inside is quiet, eerily quiet. The flames being they're sort of magical and unnatural.
I'll call out to
don't crack.
Say, if there is a ritual occurring here, I don't see who might be responsible for it.
Drummond, you make your way down to what seems to be a very sort of grandiose-looking bed. The words of Zirak that he spoke to you in the inn when he was recalling what the madman said. And as you look and sort of walk around, you can see that within the circular frame of this seems to be a star-shaped interior with which the pillows and blankets seem to be lying in.
I start being like, Zirak, what do you make of it? Zirak? What are you doing way back there?
It seemed relatively safe here. I'll go ahead and drop concentration on Hold Portal and enter the room, since the dirt hasn't sprung up and attacked my allies as of yet.
Suddenly, I'm just joking.
I had a feeling you were going to do that. Actually, what I'm curious about now is, you said I did notice that the sand was kind of draining into the grate behind me, right?
It was. It's almost like a slow, trickling drain, but it's consistent. It's not like one of the coin machines, like those Dozer arcade coin machines that move back and forth, where occasionally you'll get it in. This is like a constant trickle of sand going into that vent. You look and you scan around the walls, and you notice that there's no sand coming from the walls. There's no sand flowing from the ceiling. But it doesn't look like the sand has changed much since the last time you were here.
I'd like to take a look at this bed circle thing and look for any sort of runes that I wouldn't recognize that Zirak might know. What I'm really doing is looking for if Layla found anything here. I want to know what it is, because we can't obviously ask her anymore.
Give me an investigation check.
My curiosity is piqued about this, like Valeria's mentioning an hourglass. I'm getting the same impression. I want to go down to the bed and take a blanket off of the bed and lay it over the grate and stop the sand from draining out of the room.
Okay. And as you guys sort of move down towards the bed again, those of you that remember going down here the first time, you remember that back behind the statues of the two people sort of embracing, along the walls here, there were jars and crates, although you guys didn't get to really investigate those, but those have all since been moved.
I think this is the first time I'm walking over to this area, so I don't think I noticed those jars last time.
Zirak, as you pick up a blanket and you sort of move back, and then it doesn't cover the whole grate of the door, because it's like a 15-foot wide door. You sort of do your best to sort of crumple up one side and lay it down, and you can actually see as you do so that the sand begins to sort of climb over the blanket and then slowly trickle to the other side into the grate.
Interesting. So yeah, I'm kind of looking at this in amazement, like the sand is alive somehow, and then of course I feel afraid because that's how I died.
Checking as you sort of look around again and sort of thinking very, very hard on what you remember seeing and recalling the first time you were here, sort of through these sort of fearful death haze that's kind of the ever pervasive thought in your mind right now as you're having like Vietnam flashbacks with this place. As you begin to sort of look at the wall,
PTSD.
you look along the walls and you sort of scan and you can see where everything that was once sand is sort of bare stone and dirt. The sand has been receding. You remember walking through here the first time and it felt like you were walking on a beach. You remember the feeling of your feet sort of moving along and squishing in. Almost very tiring to sort of move about. But now the sand seems firmer. You sort of scrape your feet along the bottom. And you can maybe see about an inch of sand before it is bare stone and cave floor.
I want to see if there's anything underneath the rest of these sheets.
Droman rolled with advantage. With the 7, you're sort of picking through, trying to find what you can get. The endless sheets and like finery that they've placed along the inside of this. While annoying to search through, you could probably imagine that it's really fucking comfortable to sleep on. Go ahead, Thalion. This is irregular. You don't have advantage on it. You manage to find a corner, Thalion, that you can get like 3 fingers in, and you begin to lift. And you see that maybe there's probably about there's probably like a feather mattress that's probably like a foot thick, and on top of that feather mattress you see like all these velvets and fine cotton sheets that you manage to start to lift, and it is pretty heavy. But then I assume as you begin to sort of lift it up, the rest of the group sort of comes over and you guys begin to push and roll the blankets down off of the bed. And as you look inside, laced in a very peculiar pattern in a circle directly underneath the bed that sort of rims the inside of the star, you see that there are runic writing.
Zurich. Need ya. Just got some runic writing over here. It's not really my expertise. See if maybe you recognize it.
I'll lean over and take a close look at the writing. Kind of hold.
Give me a second. I accidentally deleted it. The picture I was using.
I'll hold my implement up as a light source to kind of get a close look at the runes. One ring to rule them all.
Ashnash.
Yeah.
So you look and you see that this writing is in Sylvan.
Oh, hey, I think I can read that.
It reads out as a sort of an unknown ritualistic spell to you. The way it's worded is sort of lust is the driving mechanic to feed this spell.
As seems appropriate, being underneath the bed, a very comfortable bed. And I turn around to look at the statues behind us. Are they grappling like wrestlers or grappling like lovers?
That's the closest thing I could find to what I was looking for, and they are grappling like lovers.
Okay, that's what I assumed. So I kind of look up statues and back down at the writing, and I almost want to. It's kind of nasty. Do I look around for maybe somebody consummated the ritual here on this bed and we're stepping in it? I don't know.
I mean, you did grab one of the blankets.
I did.
You don't know what was on it until you read this, and you're like, begin to like sort of inadvertently rub your palms on your pants, like, ew.
Yep, my hands are sticky now. That's gross.
Yeah, and you sort of look at your hands, and you're like, oh, man.
I would probably cast prestidigitation on my hands and make a little hand sanitizer bottle that I spray onto my hands.
So do you guys remember if Layla shared anything about the note that she did find by... Or did she just sort of read it, put it in her pocket, and then kind of said nothing?
At the house where everybody was killed and we ran.
Yes.
I get the impression that she read it to herself and put it in her pocket.
Oh,
Read it and said it out loud. 'Cause
Out
that
loud?
prompt us, Valiant to say, okay, let's leave. I don't remember.
well,
what
at that point,
Numbers 13 and 5.
Dalian, at that point, when she found the letter, you were standing at the door keeping a lookout.
Yeah, and when I came back, she read out the letter after she said she read it to herself first. Because Valiant...
Chris said no. All I remember was 13 and 5.
I will. I want to take a look at these jars that you said were over behind the statue. You said you didn't get a close look at them. I want to see if I can tell what their contents are.
I was saying that those of you that did remember coming in here and seeing next to these statues, there were jars and crates that sort of lined this wall are all since gone.
Oh, gotcha. They're not there anymore.
You can actually look and see where there's sort of indentations along the wall as you kind of walk up. Some large circular ones. And like smaller ones, you can see like square outlines that have sort of left indentations in the dirt here. But they have all since been moved.
The jars were probably filled with lubrication.
all the Vaseline.
Right.
Xerac, do you think if we destroyed the circle, it'll disrupt the...
It's possible. If the ritual is actively utilizing these runes, that disrupting the circle will possibly break the ritual. Feel free to give it a try. It can't hurt anything.
You know,
As simple as taking a dagger and scratching one of the runes into a different form might be sufficient.
Man,
I'll go ahead and try it.
I wish Layla would have
I'll
shared
go ahead
that.
and I'll go ahead and try that and just start like scratching at runes. Is this ring? It looks like gold or brass or something on there.
It's a copper ring with the runes sort of inscribed in it. Xerac, as you look upon it, you know that copper is a sort of universal conductor for everything. It's used in multiple experiments for like alchemist guilds, and you look upon this, and you could probably imagine that this ritual was inscribed into this sort of copper ring to maybe sort of strengthen it. With a 23, you easily enough begin to sort of scratch out, and nothing happens. There's no like sort of burst of light, but you have scratched out a significant amount of runes and sort of altered what it is.
I did just remember something though. last time we were down here, Zurich, you actually spotted something. But before we could investigate, that creature emerged. But you were heading.
Yeah, it was the fact that on the left side of the room there was no statue in between the two braziers. It looked empty, as if the space was missing something. And I went to go investigate with Valeria, and that's when the sand came to life and attacked us.
Oh, I thought you saw a shimmer or something.
Staying as far away from the left side of the room as I can.
Give me an intelligence check as you're forcing yourself to remember past the instance where the monster rose from the sand and sort of... Because right now that is the focal point of your memory as you sort of look over into that area and you just imagine that it swirls. And no matter what you do as you look over in that area, you just imagine that strange sand anomaly just rising from the ground, and you quickly avert your eyes.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I can imagine. I mean, it killed me. I can imagine I'm very timid at the moment from getting over there. But I do remember that I went to investigate that side with Valeria because it was bare. The wall over there was bare. It looked like a different architecture over there. So if you're feeling brave, I'll stand back here and ready some magic to help you out. But I don't.
Alien, go ahead and give me a perception.
Wait, what was that, Mark?
Give me a perception check as you begin to look over there as Zirak is sort of yelling at you like, "This is what I saw. I'm not going over there." You look and you do see where the sand has begun to sort of recede. Kind of reminds you of low tide on the ocean. And you do sort of pick up where over here it does look bare and just a tad bit smooth. Kind of exactly what Zirak was talking.
I want to fill along the wall. I'm going to start on that end and kind of go across.
Are you just moving your hands across?
I'm kind of tapping the halberd against it just to make sure there's pressure. It's not like the entrance we came through into this cave.
Okay, easy enough. You sort of tap the handle end with your counterweight so you don't damage the tip or the axe head of your halberd, and you move across and clink, 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 clink. You make it to the other side. It's solid.
Huh. Okay, so it's not what I was thinking.
So Zirak mentioned that this area looked like it was missing a statue. I'd like to brush away the sand and maybe see if I can find a place where a statue would go, because he's the
Sort of looking about at the placement of the other statues. You kind of see how close they are to the wall. You begin to sort of look around this general area, and I'll just say for the time, for the sake of time. You begin to move everything around. You don't see anywhere where a platform would have been. You don't see any sort of indentations where anything would have been. But the more and more you think about it, this corner of the room compared to everywhere else inside this sort of cavern opening does feel naked compared to anywhere else.
I'm a little stumped here.
Drummond, give me a perception check. Fuck me. Yeah, that's pretty much what you notice. This area of the room itself just feels naked and bare compared to the rest of this cavern. Although the rest of the cavern isn't exactly like lavish and grandiose, the feng shui, I guess the easy thing, is just kind of off on this side.
I'd almost say maybe one of those needs to be moved over here, but I don't think we could move those statues, or that bit was pretty heavy.
Valeria, you look to the statue to the north, and you look to the statue to the south, and you can see that both of these women, although in quite different languid poses, you sort of look from their eye to eye, and you see that these statues are looking at each other, almost as if they're tempting each other with their sort of sexual, teasing, provocative pose. You look behind you to that statue, and you see that that statue is staring directly ahead. And you follow the gaze, and it is looking exactly at the wall where Thalion is standing.
Galleon, strike a pose.
Valeria, go ahead and give yourself a point of inspiration for that.
Okay.
Zerak does have a thing for statues, but I'm not standing over there. Sorry.
And you said that out loud, Valeria? The question about the statues?
I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, these two right here are actually looking at statues right here, looking at each other, and then this one is looking at the spot where you're at. So I don't know.
Maybe.
They seem to be looking at each other with lustful desire. Galleon, could it be possible that if we return the favor to the statue across from you, that we might... Well, I wouldn't want to engage the ritual worse than it already is, but I'm not sure if that would make the ritual or engage
I have
it.
another idea as I'm gonna walk over to.
I'm starting to have flashbacks of that mansion where we had to turn the statues on each other to get free from the trap.
What if the other two need to also be looking towards the wall?
What do you mean? None of them are looking towards the wall.
What if we need to turn that statue that was just ping? What if we need to turn that one to look at the other?
I'm wondering if maybe the other two need to be turned to the same direction as that center one. And I'm gonna see if this one turns at all or anything.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's useful to find out if we can even move the statue.
Thalion, as you walk over there, you sort of lay your halberd against the wall, and you look, and this is a big fucking statue. Like, it's probably 15 feet tall. It's big, it's stone, it's gnarly. You try to get a handhold and you try to move it. Even with your strength and any check that you have, you're not moving that sucker. It's way too heavy.
How about this one over by Drummond?
Are you going to try to move it?
Yeah, I'm going to try and turn it to look at the other one, so they're all looking at another one.
We'll say that you're trying to move it. It is not budging. Give me a perception.
All of us? Or never mind.
Oh, just Drummond. You sort of grab onto the leg and sort of try to leverage one foot against the wall, and you begin to push and try to move it, and you just say, fuck. As you sort of throw your hands up and you look around, and you kind of like absentmindedly put your hand over your head, and you sort of begin to look up. And you notice now that imperceptible from the front, along the back of the arm, there seems to be a seam that runs along what would be like your rotator cuff. And you begin to follow it, and the seam quite slight, not noticeable from a great distance, but you can look up and you can see that the seam goes into the armpit before you lose sight, and you begin to go under the statue and look and catch on the other side, and you can catch where the seam is on the arm on this side. You check the other arm, no seam. Just a seam there on the left shoulder of the statue.
Like a seam, like it rotates or moves. The arm does.
Being a rogue who's used to looking for things like this, you could probably imagine that could be the case.
Okay, I'm gonna try and climb up there and see if it moves in a direction.
You guys watch as Drummond begins to find sort of handholds. Climbs about 5 feet up. Reaches for the forearm that's sort of like cupped, almost in a manner that seems to be like the forearm is like holding up the statue's breasts in like a sort of very provocative, naked stance. And as he reaches up and he pulls on the arm descends, and you guys hear a very loud, audible click. And what sounds to be like the whirring of gears. You guys begin to hear sort of like a sort of sound, and you watch as the door itself begins to close and shuts.
Oh.
And as the door shuts, you guys look over to the smooth part of the wall as it begins to move to the side, revealing an entrance. Valyria, you look through ahead and you just lose sight of the inside as you see what seems to be stairs cut out of the stone begin to go up.
Going up. They're going to the castle, maybe?
Door open, but at least it's not alive. The sand around the door. Roman, that was good investigation.
Thank you.
Okay. Is everybody ready to go?
Believe so. I think your suspicions are right. I think this is taking us straight to the castle.
I'm almost ready. Give me a few seconds to kind of steal my nerves. I will walk up to Elise and grab a hold of her hand for comfort as I follow the rest of you across where I died.
And Zirak, just for note, the jars and stuff in boxes were my gift to you.
Pet, it'll be fine. Don't worry, Ziriak. We'll get through this.
It was a nice little gift I was going to give to you since you guys didn't find the stash at the mansion. It was actually a bunch of incense and stuff we are finding familiar smell.
Ooh, nice. But it's all gone now. That
has since been taken.
My familiar is also gone, so I guess it's fair.
You guys begin to ascend the steps as Zirak finally steps through the threshold from cavern to platform with a very shaky breath. Zirak, you sort of have to steady yourself, but you made it. Nothing came up. The sand did not move, but you can see the ever slight shift as it just sort of moves towards the entrance of the cave.
I almost jump out of my skin when I see that shift.
You're not gonna want to ever go to a desert now.
No, that's funny too because my other character in Mark's campaign is from the desert, so now they're like opposites.
Why I brought it
That
up.
is hilarious.
As you guys begin to move, the wall behind you, with the audible sound of gears, begins to close, encasing you guys in darkness. The two clerics reignite their magic, or the cleric and the wizard reignite their light cantrip, and you guys, as you guys begin to go up these very nice carved stone steps that seem to wind and begin to almost take on a spiral. And after what seems to be probably about 5 minutes, you guys make it to a landing, and directly in front of you is a wooden door.
I'm going to, or actually, it might be smarter. Drummond, can you creep up and see if you hear anything?
I will go ahead and quietly go up to the door and see if I can hear anything on the other side.
For the sake of time, I will tell you that you walk up, you press your door in, and everybody behind you sort of like holds their breath for that minuscule amount of time. It is eerily quiet on the other side of the door.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
It's that same sort of quiet where you're standing in the woods in like a heavy fog. Even the words you speak seem muted.
I'll creep up with Gar's shadow and slowly open the door.
The door isn't locked. You push it open and you look inside, and your eyes take a little bit to adjust as it's a little bit darker here, and with the light of Zirak and Valeria in the back, you sort of take a minute and you look around. You're standing in what seems to be a storage closet. You look and there seems to be rolls and spools of things sort of hanging on racks. Boxes, cabinets. Just this sort of enclosed 10 by 15 foot room, just seemingly full of like round spools of things.
Can I crack one of the boxes open and see what's inside?
You look inside and you can see that there is like sheaths of leather. Other ones you see fine silks. You go to the large spools that are sort of hanging on the racks and you touch it. You feel linens and wools. Everything here is like cloth.
You're not gonna tell me that thing in that room, this hidden staircase, just leads to a storage closet for linens? And this was the only
After a while, the light comes in, and you guys begin to look around, and you guys see like you're inside like a miniature version of Joanne's Fabrics, I guess you could say.
Oh.
It's just full of cloth, wools, linens, like fine silks. You can see what seem to be almost like long measuring tapes kind of hanging on the wall, shears, scissors, a work table, stools.
Is there another door to like go to the front room if this is a store? Another
Directly opposite of where you guys entered, you see that there is a door. You walk up, you test it, it is on.
Let's go ahead and open that one and take a look inside.
You open it,
I'll follow
and
this.
you're looking at the back of a business counter. No light lit inside. No noise coming from within. You step in and you see that you are in a store. Those of you that have been here before recognize the store as the store and clothing shop of Ayana Style.
Have we met this person?
Yes.
She is the one that
Mere
sold
clothes.
you your dress robe.
That we used to go to the party with.
And you remember that she was a member of the Ordo de Nuevo? You guys remember buying your clothes from her and then seeing her that same night at dinner?
I think that was the only Layla that it was someone that was part of the Ordo de Nero that was setting us up.
I gotta check the register.
So you walk up and then you see that there is a lockbox underneath. There is a lock on it.
Let's go ahead and get the picks out.
Okay, go ahead and give me a thieves tool check.
About drum
And these are with the +1.
The masterpiece thieves. You opens with just the merest touch of your finesse. You open it up, and inside you just see a very small, like velvet, kind of like coin sack, but the rest of it is empty. You count it open, and you see that there's 20 gold inside this little coin pouch. And you can, with your knowledge of businesses that you've stole before, that you know that something like this is like the emergency coin fund, in case things run short, that they always keep inside the lockboxes at businesses. It looks like the main sort of funds that were in here have been moved, but they kept that sort of just emergency pouch there.
Okay. You know, it's just the situations you kind of fall back on the old habit.
I want to search to see if there's any notes, see if she was responsible, if she slipped up some way and left evidence.
Give me an investigation check. Anybody helping him?
Sure.
I would, but I'm still feeling a bit peckish.
Give me an investigation check with advantage, since Valeria is helping you look, as you guys begin to like search more around the back of the counters. With a 16, you find an open drawer, and in there you see that there are a bunch of what seem to be discarded papers. Begin to search through it. You see a lot of them are measurements for different sort of clothing cuts. You can imagine that maybe this is a place where they just sort of discarded the notes that they took for customers whose clothes they were custom making. There was one sheet of paper, different, larger piece of parchment that was different than the other ones that you pick up. And as you sort of pick up this folded piece of parchment, you begin to open it up, and it shows you this. I think. Where the fuck is it? Oh my god, did I not load those?
Are we back in the town?
You guys are back in the town inside the clothing store, Styles Custom Fabrics.
Take us,
Damn it. Give
Can
me
you
one
take
quick
us to the
second.
map so we can get a...
Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot to move it. So you guys are,
If you
guys are
take us
still
to
in
the
the cave.
map, we can kind of plan where we want to go next.
Alright, give me one quick second. Thalion, I'm going to make a handout really quick. Okay, there you go.
Where is it?
Handouts.
An hour after sunset, within the temple, a member of
played from the beginning. That's why they wanted our stories. And
I knew it. Didn't I say it was awfully suspicious that they wanted to know quite a bit about what we were doing?
So,
They
let's go to the
murdered one of them.
Wait, the temple.
He knew
The
what was
temple
going
is
on.
not the church, right?
What's that?
The temple, that's not the church, is it? Did we know?
I don't know.
the
That would
temple-
make sense.
The only temple that you can think of at this moment would be maybe the cathedral. So that's really the only place you guys have gone.
Yeah, that was.
Other than the sort of cavern that you found down below. But as you're kind of looking at this parchment and just the depth of paper that it was kind of folded and hiding under, you don't know if it was placed there to be hidden, or you don't know if that particular parchment is old.
Can you point out where we are on the map right now?
Oh, that's not the murder house. Where you wrote murder house is the fabric store. The murder house was back here.
So I think we should probably check out the cathedral.
You know, we didn't get a whole lot of time to investigate the murder house either. There might be more clues there. Of course, the guards might have gone over that.
Yeah, I don't think we can go back there safely anyways to check.
I'm not really
Probably wiped clean already.
concerned with the guards, but yeah, it could have been wiped clean.
You never know until you check.
It is close by if we want to check for anything we may have missed before we check the cathedral.
I think it has it has a higher possibility of clues than the cathedral.
Cathedral, if I'm correct from this note, will just lead us to our source, but if we find something that adds more, that might be more important. So yeah, let's check the murder house first.
You guys don't think, like, Roger or Dury had anything to do with this, do you?
It's not.
No
I don't.
way.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
you guys exit through the front of the fabric store. And again, as you go out into the main square and you look about the different markets that are usually set up along the riverside here near the docks, and everybody is still just staring up at the sky, lifeless with slack faces, immobilized.
I continue at a fast pace. The quicker we solve this, the quicker we can save them.
You guys begin to move quickly, sort of dodging in and out of people. You bump across a couple and they sort of take a step forward before they stop, right themselves, and they still look on. Guards, merchants, nobles, peasant. It seems nobody was sort of immune to this when it happened. The entire town just kind of standing there, like seaweed underwater. Just unmoving in place. After a while, you make it to the familiar stone sort of townhouse mansion that was the Trent residence. You walk up, the door is closed, all the curtains have been drawn. You guys walk up to the door. The door is unlocked.
I'm going to slowly enter. Keep Garshell at my side, see if he picks up any odd smells.
The smell is apparent. It smells like rot and death.
Even bother moving the bodies out of here?
I'm gonna head in that direction just to see if they did.
Do you still have that map?
I don't think they could have taken the bodies out before that spell kicked in, or whatever that thing is in the sky.
Yesterday, that was last night. They definitely had time to do it. And I know there was a fire going on at the same time, but...
Yeah, they probably didn't prioritize these guys as anything special. Probably was like, oh, half the catch. They were too busy trying to catch us and that changeling.
Alien, you go to the left, you turn immediately right, and you make your way towards the study. The door there is slightly open. You open up the door. The bodies that were hanging from ropes with their hands up above their heads are gone. But there, over by the fireplace, you see the body of Tommy Trent. Though this time he is not sitting in his reading chair, he seems to be strung up, sort of splayed, like an animal that was being butchered, as even more wounds were inflicted upon his body even after death when you guys left.
Like a hate crime or something.
Makes no sense. Did we
So
was a traitor.
to sort of give you an image, I don't know if you guys remember the scene in Event Horizon where the one guy was killed in the medical lab and he was just kind of strung up like that.
I kind of blocked that movie out of my head, Mark.
That's kind of
I
the
remember
image.
it clearly because I love that movie.
Yeah, that's kind of the image I'm going for.
12
and this
times,
just,
I think.
the brutality of the scene you're looking at right now, Thalion, is horrifying. Whoever did this, you could tell that the motive was absolute and pure anger.
I kind of look over my shoulder. I'm not sure if anyone followed me in the room, but I kind of call back. Did we fully check to make sure that those hanging bodies were in fact living or not fake or altered?
I checked them, and they had been dead after they had the wounds, like there. So they may have moved them from another part and put them back there, or they could have. It could have been here. I don't know for sure, but were moved here though.
Just find it odd that they
Are you saying that from a distance, or are you in the room now?
I'm in the room with them.
Go ahead and give me a perception check, Illyria.
Okay.
Sort of muddled by what seemed to be dried up blood, as you sort of follow the trails that kind of go down off of the skin where it was dripping and sort of running onto the floor. You find a certain section that's open where it almost seems to be like an ashen ring was kind of burnt into the ground in a circle directly underneath the body. And you begin to notice that through the discoloration of the skin and the dry blood on the body itself, there are parts that do glisten and some parts that are sort of covered in ash. You're thinking that maybe a spell was used.
I want to search the room, see if I can find anything that might have been left.
Okay, give me an investigation check. For shits and giggles, we're just going to say that you sort of walk around as Valeria is sort of inspecting the body in this sort of ashen circle that kind of burnt itself into the floor. You begin to look around, and sort of shoved in between some books, you notice a small corner of what seems to be a parchment. You walk over, you open it, and you see where this parchment itself was hastily folded and shoved in.
Gotta reach for it and take a look at it.
It's in your handouts. Man, I really needed to do spell check on these.
As the moon thickens and the sound of the 12th bell tolls, our plans will come to fruition. A new age of prosperity and wealth caretake. What time is it?
You don't know. You know that you guys woke up pretty early. You've noticed that none of you have been looking up at the sun. You guys have all
told
made
us
it
not
apparent that
to.
you guys did not want to look at it.
No, I don't want to look at it again.
Judging by the... You know that you have maybe been walking around for like 4 or 5 hours now, with the trip in and sort of rushing through, and... Oh man, you don't know what time it is.
Almost say use the shadows, but I'm not sure how those are being affected by this eclipse. I'm gonna start towards the door unless someone has checked somewhere else or found anything else, but I'm starting to think we should go check the cathedral.
Okay, sounds like we're heading to the cathedral now.
I know there's like. Oh, never mind. I think. Yeah, let's just go there then.
Sure? You have an idea of anything?
Share your thoughts, Valeria. Share your thoughts.
I don't know. Like, I know there's another one that's closer to. I guess not closer, but like there's a graveyard, and that's I don't know exactly. That doesn't seems like a place where people would less frequent in comparison to the big one in town. So if I were to be someone who was doing something kind of sneaky, I would probably want to go do it somewhere, like
Was there a
as
temple at the
out in the
graveyard?
open.
I did go to that graveyard for something.
I mean, yeah, there's a chapel building right there.
I don't know if that would be considered a temple or whatever it is that we're saying in the letter. That's my own thought. I don't know why they would go to a bigger spot where they'd be more like obvious.
Well, maybe they're residing within or underneath the big spot.
True.
Hiding. Like how the ones in the sewer were hiding in the sewers.
Well, the cathedral is closer than the little small chapel in the graveyard. So we could check that one
Could
first.
check that one first. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Afterwards. So off to the cathedral.
Okay. Takes you guys a good 20 minutes to sort of run there. Go ahead and give me a perception check. Drummond, you'll have to give me a quick investigation check, as we'll retcon that you're up for goodies.
I mean, they're not using it anymore. Did you say investigation?
Yep. We'll say that you didn't find any lockboxes, but you did find the bedroom upstairs. of Toman Trant and his wife, and you did manage to grab a fistful of jewelry before they started calling you back down, as everybody's sort of in a rush now to get to the cathedral.
Drummond's up there, like, filling his pockets with jewels, and everybody's like, come on, we're going. And he's like, just a minute, hang on, I'll be right there.
So you grab a fistful, shove them in your pockets, and you run off. 20-minute sprint. You guys run back down through the Crystal Fair towards the main circle, sort of slowing down as you notice that Dala is still there, still looking up at Layla. And you guys sort of lower your heads again and you continue to run, crossing the bridge into Whitehearth Square. Usually the busiest part of town, dead quiet as everybody is just stopped staring up into the sky. You turn towards the church, you see the front doors are open, and you see that the sisters and the father of the cathedral are all standing out front, staring up at the sky. Unmoving, slacked face.
I'm gonna enter.
You enter.
Yes, I enter.
There's not a sound. There's some candles that are lit alongside the offering tables that are there. There's no movement. It's quiet. It smells of oils and incense and polished wood.
I'm gonna head towards the back where I remember there was that other room.
You go to the back, the same room that they sort of had Zirak in when you guys helped to bring him back from the Veil of Death. You look and you see the marble, the sort of marble, why can't I think of the name? The marble dais, or the marble table, I guess, that the body was laying on. You look around and you see all the plants that seem to flourish here inside this cathedral. You look and you see that there is a door beyond. You run and you open that door and you see that this door is full of what seems to be supplies. Clean linens, small vials of oil, more cloth, bandages, stuff like that. You look around again, look inside, not much here. You run back out into the main cathedral. You look behind the statue and you see that there's another hallway. This takes you back to the sleeping quarters for the sisters and the father that work and operate this cathedral inside. You look about, everything is quite austere, which sort of matches their everyday linens that they wear. It is a grandiose sort of church, but they are not dressed in a manner that would suggest that they are grandiose themselves. Like, they're not walking around dressed like the Pope, like covered in gold and like scarlet finery. Like, they're wearing very simple linen frocks, very modest, and their rooms sort of mirror that. You see that there's a small kitchen area where they would take their sup. You look about, there's not much there. You see another door, you open that, and it leads you towards a basement area, and you sort of hurry there and follow down. Some people go with you. That's fine. You guys go down, and you see that you're in this sort of undercroft, necropolis area, and you see that there are stone sarcophagi underneath. You look at a couple of the inscriptions, and you can see that this is probably where they interred some of the members of the church from times past, but there's nothing here that gives you a sense that there's any wrongdoing or any sort of cult in this area.
Immediately,
It's a waste of time.
Out to the exit. Yes, Valeria, I think you're right this time. Let's go check that small chapel.
Okay, so that was about 40 minutes in there. You guys run, and I mean run, all the way across town now in what seems to be maybe like a 30-minute, 40-minute sprint to get over the bridges through the Lamborough and up the road to the small chapel. You look through the graveyard, and standing out in front of the door, you see multiple people. Some wearing the austere robes of what seems to be apostles and clergy. Some other people that might have been there for religious purposes. You go down inside, and you see that this is much smaller. Maybe only like a handful of pews inside, but it's almost a sort of layout, but just in a smaller sort of way. You see in the back that there's 2 bedrooms. There is a kitchen area, what seems to be a small study area. There's stairs that go down. You begin to follow them, thinking that you might be finding another sort of undercroft area. As you get to the base of the stairs, there's an arch, and you look up, and you see a symbol. It is an eye, surrounded by seven stars. Valeria, are you proficient in religion?
So,
You know that this is the symbol for the goddess Selu, goddess of the moon.
oh.
If I can find the symbol, I will toss it up here. Aha. This is what you're looking at. This is the symbol that you see that's carved on top of the door. This sort of stone archway. This hallway takes you in, and there are numerous rooms off to the side here. This isn't sort of like an undercroft where they would store holy dead. These seem to be rooms. Each one sort of has a desk. You see one that has, you walk in and you look, and you see one has like alchemical components sort of out on the table. You see some with notes. You see one room that has different bits of what seem to be powders. Another area that seems to be what looks like an operating table. And then just some of them are just more and more and more. Each one just has papers and desks. Almost as if there was some sort of like underground activity happening within this chapel.
What was that about this place being too small for an operation? It's starting to look like it might be.
We'll say for the sake of time, you guys begin to look at the papers. You guys are noticing a name that's consistent with a lot of these that seem to be orders and letters to and from. And that name is the Silver Vigil.
We've heard that somewhere before, haven't we?
You heard it from Layla and Dala, that this was an organization that they closely worked with, one that helps monitor and prevent pretty much one. It's like an outreach program that is specifically made to help those cursed with lycanthropy.
Okay, so this is not the
Oh
place.
no.
Can I look at these alchemical papers? I'm looking for potion recipes.
Most of the potion recipes that you do find are wolfsbane potions. Begin to sort of investigate some of the small powdered elements. They smell like ash bark, actual wolfsbane weed.
While we're searching through here, do I notice any of the herbs that I use or that I know of out in the open or in any of the stuff?
That you use frequently that you know of? No. All these ones to you are sort of not known, but as you sort of pick up the papers, you can see. Let me see if it's.
I'm gonna add that wolfsbane potion to my recipe to my character.
Okay.
And I am starting to wonder, since this led us to a different group, that maybe one of those other routes underground, there's a chapel down there. Either that or it's in the castle somewhere.
And Italian's like, maybe it's back in the caves, and you guys are like, oh, for fuck's sake, like we just ran all this way. But if you guys want to get back over there really quickly, you guys do notice that there are docks on both sides of this river with boats available.
Literally take a boat and nobody would notice.
Yep, let's take a boat.
Unless you want to sit
I-
over
I
here
just-
and be running around town.
I,
I suggest
we're
we
just
take a
running
boat.
around everywhere, yeah.
Exactly. I suggest we take a boat, since the river runs through all of everywhere.
Okay,
Besides, it's
we're
not
gonna
stealing it for
So,
the barn.
I'm-
we're gonna
I-
say for for shits and giggles, you guys run over to the river, find a couple fishermen skiffs. You guys jump in and kind of use the current to your advantage, and then whoosh back over into the Crystal Fair district. You're like, yeah,
Okay,
that was way
so-
better. Fucking.
While we're on the boat, and I'm hearing some frustration from the group that we're kind of running around in circles and not making any headway, it seems, I will mention to the group that there might be some way that I could provide some direction, since Valeria's goddess has been silent in providing direction for us. Perhaps I can draw on an arcane source to provide answers that might be more powerful than we are.
If it helps, yes, please.
So let's get somewhere away from people and inside, if possible.
We'll say it's easy enough for you guys to go in to an unoccupied building, since all the people have seemed to poured out onto the streets and are staring up at the sky.
Are there any stores available?
Take your pick.
Which one looks like it has the most money in it?
Gonna go to the jewelers.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I am not being distracted by money at the moment. If anything, I could take inspiration from Layla's body hanging on the. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
I will just go to an unoccupied building, since many of the residents are probably out staring at the moon, sun eclipse, with their slack-jawed expressions. And I will pull my spell book out of my pouch and try to draw on the entity that resides within the book and summon the form of Sephirian. I would like to call forth Sephirian.
You're gonna call her out now?
I am.
Okay, so she's out for
Because
4
we're
minutes.
wandering around for 3 hours with no direction, so I'm hoping she, in her vast knowledge, might be able to provide some direction. But I'll
Oh,
roll.
and then give me a quick second. And these are the herbs that you guys found. The herbs that you guys found down there, and then what's in the potion itself.
Given that she has only revealed herself to me and she might be shy around my allies, I will do this away from my allies at first. Yes, I'm going to go talk to my book. Corner, guys. I'll be back in a moment.
So you guys watch as Xerac kind of go. I hate it when accidentally start typing in the chat box. You guys watch as Xerac kind of goes off, kneels to the ground, and sort of carefully takes his book and opens it, places his hand on it, and you guys see him sort of close his eyes and sort of think on the book. Then you guys watch as a pulsating light begins to thrum as a mote, almost like a small white firework, shoots up in this low arcing before it just stands there, and the moat begins to take on flames that grows. And you watch that as these flames sort of ripple out, they begin to take the form of a very luminescent, womanly figure. And that figure you see standing there, if I can find the picture, sort of staring down at the kneeling form of Zirak, is this almost ethereal woman with elven features.
Isn't she pretty?
Did you call me out just to tell me I'm pretty?
I did not, my lady. I am so glad that you answered my call. You have my eternal gratitude. What I have summoned you for is more dire than just to look upon your beauty. There is an astronomical event happening of which I have little to no understanding. I understand that eclipses happen all the time, but this one seems dark and foreboding, and it causes great psychic pain to the mind and seems to sap the will from those who stare at it for too long. I was hoping that in your wisdom and experience that you might be able to provide us some direction or some clue on how to stop this atrocity from affecting the people here. Indeed, from maybe even spreading around all those who could see it.
I have felt the power of this thing, that which grows in the sky. I can tell you that this is not a phenomena that is natural, but one that is forced. As if a hand itself is keeping it there, which is why the sun and the shadows do not move. It is here to amplify a ritual. That much I can speak. And I know that what I felt below ground is much stronger than what I feel here.
Below ground where? Could you be more specific, my lady?
I heard the sloshing of mud.
We just
a
can't.
lingering scent of damp earth. I can say that you were close, and you moved away.
I bow my head to her and I say, I thank you for the hints. And I look around to my allies and I say, apparently we were almost upon the source of this ritual. Does my lady's hints provide you with any solid guesses as to where it may have been? Perhaps I should have let myself fall into the muddy waters when Thalion pulled the rope and saved me.
Well, there were some paths we didn't take. They were...
When you enter, again, this time go up and not down. And you watch as her form begins to flicker.
As I was about to say.
I thank you for your time, my lady. As do we all. And perhaps with your assistance we will save those afflicted by this curse.
Don't lose me in the dark, Zirak. I've spent too much time in the dark. I only wish you would have summoned me for something that was not such a trifle. And the form fades. The gold filigree on your book fades. And now it is just the blue-gray stone slate cover with the lingering cold. So for 24 hours, the empowerment on your spell book is gone.
Okay. That's fair. She may have called it a trifle, but we could have wandered here for 3 sessions trying to figure out where to go. So, to me, it's the most help that she could give. I look around at my friends and say, well, it seems we need to go back under the ground again. We were so close.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to rush. Once we get to the cave entrance, I'm going to have Guard Shadow sniff both notes that I found, see if he picks up a scent.
So, Drummond, did you guys, which store did you guys go into? Did you guys choose one at random, or did you, Valeria, take Drummond to the jewelry store?
Just say it was a jewelry store. Screw everybody. No, I don't. No, not really.
Drummond, you go in and you see inside this jewelry store is a bunch of very fine-looking jewelry. You have 5 minutes to loot and pillage, I guess, as Valeria kind of is now sort of watching as you kind of brazenly steal from this store while the rest of this city seems to be afflicted by some sort of ritual.
Disappointed, but you make your own choices.
There's a sense of cold that kind of takes you a little bit, Valeria. A sense that maybe this wasn't a very honorable move. Drummond, give me an investigation check. Okay, a 14. I'll send you a list of everything that you managed to grab and throw in this 5 minutes into your bag.
Yep.
And you guys hurriedly rush back to the cavern. Give me a second. I need to move your tokens back in there. Okay. Back in the mouth of the cave.
Okay, so Guard Shadow sniffed the notes to see if he could pick up a scent.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check with advantage. With a 25, the scent of your hands is really the strongest scent on these papers. And you can see him for the world kind of ranging out in front a little bit and sniffing, but only sort of turning back to you.
Our shadow leads you all the way through to the sand pit again, and then outside, then to the murder house,
And then you
to
guys
the
go to the
chapel.
cathedral, and then to the chapel.
Okay.
And then you come right back here and
Okay, we're looking for stairs that go up.
I guess something going upwards.
Chevaliers multiply.
I saw two Elises back there, so I was a bit confused. But I have seen two Elises before.
There's nothing on the left side, right?
Valeria, you watch as Stallion just storms ahead straight down, and then the words of Zirak and the sort of ever-present glowing woman that was in front of him tells you that instead of going down, as you're watching Thalion sort of following this descent down into the caves, go up, and you see a 5-foot shelf directly in front of you that Thalion just kind of stormed past.
Alien?
I would have actually climbed up the shelf because her words are in my mind most prevalent. So Valeria can stop Thalion, but I would have scrambled up and.
I actually was getting to a stop and I was going to turn around and be like, was that where we fought the oozes or was that another shelf? And then I kind of see Zirak climb up.
At this point, I don't just follow his lead.
Our yellow line ends here.
Because that was the furthest a certain somebody went down this tunnel before turning around to stop last time.
Yeah, I think that was probably Layla. I would wait for Thalion to catch up and pass ahead of me. But I'm kind of a little bit over anxious, even though I'm still kind of tired and just back from being dead still. But I'm excited by my lady's words guiding me through this place. So
here the mud seems to dry a little bit more, and you see that along the walls, Thalion, as you move around, there seems to be engravings, carvings, darkened lines painted on the stone. You look and you see what seems to be cave paintings and engravings. Very old. These pictures take on the shapes of what seem to be like stick figures. You can make out the crude semblances of what seem to be animals and people, the sun, mountains, rivers. And everything starts to come into stark contrast now as the light from the back begins to come forward. You look further ahead, and there seems to be a T, and you watch as the tunnel begins to curve down from this area. Thalion, give me a Constitution save. You feel your knees grow weak, and you sort of hold yourself against the wall as you sort of stare up around the bend, and you see what seems to be a stacked up pile of skulls and bones. On top of the pile of bones and skulls, you see what seems to be a mossed over skull that seems more intricate than the others, as it has this sort of lush green color to it, sitting prominently on top.
I quickly move away. I'm like, yeah, skulls, just like before. One more fancier than the others. We're not. Yeah.
Like the ones in the sewer?
Yes.
Perhaps they are positioned in such a way that adds strength to this ritual. I should disrupt it.
That did not turn out well for
Yeah,
Thalion.
not unless you want to be
Layla.
cursed or whatever happened to Layla and Thalion.
Honestly, I
By the
actually suspected that same
Serious,
thing.
dude.
But I'm not sure if we should risk it.
Is there anywhere? Can you go further up there, or is that just there. There's no way to go
I
in
turn
that
around
direction.
to answer Valeria and say, the tunnel dead ends in the pile of skulls.
You look, Zirak, and you see this sort of pyramid-like piling of these skulls, and sitting prominently on top is a skull that is the color green. This one, from this distance, seems to be more ornate as your light is picking up what looks to be carvings all along the skull.
Does it look similar to the skull piles that we found in the sewers?
Very similar, except the ones that you remember in the sewers that Layla would always carelessly kick over did not have these green skulls on top.
Okay. It didn't bode well for Layla when she kicked over those skulls, so I think I'm going to heed my cleric's advice on this one and leave the skulls alone.
For the sake of time, I'm going to tell you that you look upon the skull and you see that there is an inscription on it.
I was gonna say writing.
Yeah, I was going to ask if the markings looked like writing, but since
You're 15 feet away and it's a human skull. You can tell there's engravings, but since you guys don't want to get any closer, I'll just tell you right now there's inscriptions on it.
You scared us last time, Mark.
Well, and
I know.
you also asked for a con save when Thalion walked up, so I'm not going to get any closer because I'll fail
But
this.
you're in the same exact position Thalion was.
I know, I was waiting for you to remember that I need to make a con save, but I guess
You
I don't.
don't need to make a con save.
Um,
It's kind of funny that it was only Thalion. And maybe Layla if she was still alive.
I would be curious to read the inscription. But yeah, I guess I'm worried as to why Thalion dashed out of there so fast. I'll tentatively step closer, waiting for some, I want to imagine the role play here is I'm kind of taking 6 inches steps at a time because I know something's going to pop out of the wall and kill me at any second. But I do want to get a closer look.
It's 5 minutes that feels like an eternity as you sort of slowly inch your way closer and closer and closer, hoping beyond all hope that the skull does not fly from the ground, catch fire, and begin raining down madness upon your group. And the closer you get, nothing happens. You shine your light upon it and you see that there are intricate carvings of what seem to be bands, loops, flowing, interconnected, quite beautiful. Inside some of the loops in the bands, you see that there is writing. The ever-present Sylvan writing, which seems to be a common occurrence anywhere you get close.
I would like to try and possibly make out some of the words. Maybe it's the person's name or some eulogy to the deceased.
That is what you read.
Okay, so I'll kind of mumble that aloud. It is through life and light that the path unseen is revealed. Life and light. Yeah, well, keep your eyes peeled, my friends. Maybe our light will reveal an unseen path. If I had a wizard's hat, I would tip it to the skull, but I don't.
Thalion, you see another T intersection. Give me a Constitution saving throw. This time, as you sort of step, turn, and you catch sight, there's this ungodly force that is pushing across your shoulders, this time more evident then what happened is you sort of managed to shrug it off, and now this force has pushed you down onto your knees, in your hands, in the dirt, and you feel the force now pushing on the back of your head, causing it to bow. And you guys are watching now as Thalion is on his hands and knees in a sort of supplicant pose, facing the direction of this pile of skulls. You look at his arms and his muscles are taut. He's shaking, trying to fight this force that's holding him down. But he can't seem to move.
I kind of try to glance over to Garshadow to see if my lion can nudge me out of the view of these skulls.
You cannot move. Consider yourself paralyzed in this.
Thalion, are you okay?
Can I speak still?
You're hearing him speak as if he is under a lot of duress. You feel like there's just a boulder sitting on top. Is everybody just sort of looking at him and watching? Droman just steps over him.
Let's step it around. Somebody else can move up.
Like, she's gonna grab onto his arm, kind of like.
Okay, give me a strength check, Valeria. So, kind of like a stubborn child at the Walmart toy section, Thalion does not want to seem to move, and like a heavy table, you just grab onto his shoulder, and his body is unnaturally stiff. And you move him, and you move him, and you move him, and Thalion, as soon as the skulls are out of your line of sight, the pressure releases, and you can move, and you sort of fall to the ground, heaving and breathing and sweating. That was a very, very trying time for you.
I guess Valeria is looking at the skull to see if there's anything on there.
You look up at the skull and you do see that this one too has intricate carvings with a green skull on top.
She's gonna try to read them.
You read Sylvan, right?
I read Sylvan.
Valeria, you read Sylvan?
I do have Sylvan. That's why I'm like, nobody asks me for help. It's always Xerac, but I can do the same thing too.
And that's when you walk up.
The priest can read too.
And you walk up and you read, and that's what you see inscribed upon the skull itself.
When my leaves touch the sky, I have many within.
Xerac, what did the first section say?
It is through life and light that the path unseen is revealed.
My leaves touch the sky, I have many within.
I say we continue forward. There might be more clues ahead.
It's too late, Thalion. Give me a Constitution saving throw as soon as you pop in there. I thought you would learn to not lead, but... So give me another one.
Even worse.
God, you failed this one by a lot. There is no fighting this. You get thrown down to the point to where your forehead is buried into the ground. You can feel the stones cutting into your skin and the blood gushing out from your forehead as this force is now grinding your face into the dirt. And you're feeling your body now begin to give, and your chest is sinking closer and closer, and you guys hear the sort of muffled, pained cry of Thalion calling out.
Our Shadow is going to try and pull his master away, hearing his master's cry.
I'll go ahead and help Gar Shadow pull Thalion.
Okay, Gar Shadow has advantage. You guys are struggling. Really struggling to move him an inch. And the couple inches that you do get him to move, you just see this red streak across the ground where his blood, and you just, Thalion, you feel your forehead being grated on the ground like cheese on a grater. You take 6 points. We'll just say bludgeoning damage.
Valeria,
Give me another strength check.
oh, never mind. I just saw your
From Gar
message.
Shadow?
Yeah, give me another one. He's still trying to pull you.
Oh.
Why didn't you roll it at advantage?
Sorry, I didn't realize I unclicked it because I was switching other things.
Okay, with the 19, he does manage to pull you out of sight. If you would have failed that save, you would have had exhaustion, so congratulations. You don't have exhaustion. However, your face is road rashed. You look really bad. Your shoulders are extremely tired. Your arms are extremely tired, but you do have some strength. So there's a small blessing. Dromund, you peek around the corner, and what catches your eye is what Thalion saw is another dead end with a set of bones and another green skull on top. As you walk up and look at this writing, you remember it's the same sort of writing that Zirak and Valeria is very fluent with, that you guys encountered numerous times in the...
What does this one say?
Dromund, what does it say?
It says I can't read. Can't read Sylvan.
It doesn't seem to fall in line with the other two clues. Let me take a look and see if I might be able to make it out. I'll step in front of Dromund and see if I can make out the word.
That's what you read.
At night, I come without being called. By day, I am lost without being stolen.
Everybody got super quiet.
I know the answer to this riddle. I don't know the other two, but I know the third one because I've actually used it.
I couldn't think of any good ones on my own, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna find one.
No, I like it. I've used this one in one of my other campaigns too. So I mean, I could role play an answer, but I mean, I know the answer to this one.
Yep, role play and answer.
I think about the fact that we are in an eclipse, and the sky itself is dark. and I start thinking about the night sky, and it leads me to put 2 and 2 together with this riddle, and I think to myself that the answer to this third riddle is stars.
So as you say stars, you watch as the walls around you illuminate in this sort of greenish blue light that begins to trail almost like vines, leading from where you guys are, prevalent around the skulls, all the way back out, just almost like bursting like fireworks as it traces its way back.
That then.
I'm kind of amazed by the magic in this place. I've never seen a spell like a magic like this before. But I turn around to my friends and I say, I'm at a loss for the other 2 riddles, but it seems I may have guessed correctly on this one. Anybody have any idea?
Zirak, there's something that the madman screamed at you that is ever prevalent in your mind, something that keeps popping up over and over and over again. Star, star, star. Why am I remembering this now?
Oh, let me go. I gotta look at my notes, guys. Hold on, I'll be back. I mean, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm gonna look in my notes.
All of you guys are sort of standing around as Eric's kind of talking to himself. Star. Star, why am I the star, the star? And each of you remember him speaking about something just last night when you guys were at the inn, when he was recalling the things that he heard the madman was screaming.
I barely remember what he said about the madman's screams.
Man, he did a really long role play about it and even added everything to chat.
I know, but the chat log is gone, so I can't look it up. Unless it's still there. I didn't actually scroll all the way back, but I know you remove it. Here. The
If you
star
need them-
marks the gate. The circle marks the journey. It is the key. So the star marks the gate. The star within the circle, 'tis the sign of death. The star within the circle. Didn't the bed have the circle of runes and a star?
Yes, the bed was sitting inside a star inside of a circle.
Maybe the gate is underneath the bed.
She said,
Really? Did we just hide the monsters under the bed? What?
That would be going back to the rest where she said, not
Sap?
Yeah, but we had to come here to get the clue, maybe? I don't know. What is the answer to the other 2 riddles? Do we have any clues? Star marks the gate, the circle marks the journey. It is the key.
I'm going to say that you're putting things together, Zirak, as you're recalling what you read on the first riddle. How life and light reveal the path unseen. Light. Maybe light's the star. What's the circle?
What was the second? My leaves touch the sky. I have many within. Roots? Yeah, I like the idea of roots. Roots and stars. Circle. Ooh, this is a riddle.
The rings?
What rings? Did we find rings?
There's
Oh,
rings
like
in
they're-
a tree if you were to cut it. That's show how many years it is.
True. Yeah.
Like, that does make sense.
What do you guys do?
Well, in order for me to even move from this spot, I'm gonna have to blindfold myself and have Garshadow lead me out. So I'm wrapping my eyes so I can't see the skull.
Okay.
Let's go back to.
Drummond, and you're watching the light still glowing and sort of lighting this area in this sort of ambient bluish green, snaking its way back the way you guys came.
The vines that like grew off of the skull.
Yep. But they're not like actual vines, more like engravings that have illuminated. And Zirak, as you turn the corner and you look, you're watching on this wall as the vines all lead to now what seems to be a very large illuminated star on the wall.
Perhaps it's leading us to the secret entrance. I want to place my hand on the illuminated wall in front of me. And maybe trace the star on the wall with my fingers. Maybe give it a little push.
You trace on it, you push, it is solid.
What if I knock on it? Do I hear anything different, like it's hollow?
It is solid when you knock. And you guys watch as Valeria kind of snakes her way back. And you hear her say rings. Valeria, you watch as more than blue flares to life around the skulls around you as new vines begin spreading out and interlacing with the blue ones that have overtaken the wall, leading to where Zirak is at. And Zirak, and you watch as around the star a circle begins to form in green. Once the circle is complete, you watch the two colors meld together and an opening reveals itself.
Woohoo! Valeria, you're a rock star!
Woohoo!
That's
And
some
you
good teamwork there.
You look, and inside this cave, what only you could presume to be cave, is very lush grass, vegetation, and flowers.
It's a garden within. I turn around to Thalion and I say, please lead him forward so that he may remove the blindfold. There is no death within, only life. Thalion, you may now open your eyes.
I'll remove my blindfold.
You kind of get shivers, Thalion, as you open up your blindfold and you see this unnatural landscape. You remember the tunnels and the sewers. You remember the unnatural garden below the earth.
Yeah, but we also remember the beautiful statue that was in the middle of a garden underground.
Not to mention the assassins that kept you from casting spells.
Yeah, the ones that shot Elise down straight from the air. That's like,
Yeah,
she's
but
like,
I-
oh god, this is reminding me of Taker.
I burnt a tree to ashes with an awesome lightning bolt. I was pretty excited about that.
So go ahead and group yourselves up in a 2x2 map. I gotta move you maps. The funny thing was, I was kind of glad that Zirak decided to go up to the door first and put his hands on it as the ring illuminated, because only somebody that sacrificed their blood could open this door.
Oh. Well,
Oh, lucky.
So imagine what would have happened if Zirak didn't do it and it was just Layla who is now dead.
Oh god. Yeah, that'd be done.
I thought that was pretty funny. You guys push past what seems to be this very long tunnel just lit with ambient light. You look further ahead, and gleaming from a statue, one that you have seen before, holding out a heart in an outstretched hands, is a very exotic-looking, beautiful woman surrounded by beautiful flowers. Ahead, you can hear what seems to be chanting, a very low, droning chant.
I hear the sounds of a ritual being performed up ahead. Does this statue that's in front of me look familiar? Is it the same statue I saw before?
It looks incredibly familiar. Valeria, give me a wisdom saving.
Okay. Not again! Okay.
Hypnotized by the statue?
Oh.
Valeria, an image cascades into your mind. Give me a second. You see a face, a dark face, beautiful eyes that are sad, a feminine hand holding onto a chin, one side curling up into a handsome smile, while the other is sort of opened into a gnarled, fanged mouth. You snap back into reality as the sort of face is still burned in your mind. And you sort of have to look up at the statue, back away, and kind of hold yourself up against the wall really quick to sort of get your bearings.
Alright. I think we should try to get the jump on them. Whoever's got the longest range. And we blast them and funnel them in towards us.
I do. When you say the word range, I look over at you and say, well, I am a trained spell sniper. Would that be of assistance? What is your plan exactly?
I want us to get the jump on them. So if we strike first before they know we're here, and then make them funnel into that opening. And I would suggest striking one of the people who are chanting.
But what if the people who are chanting are being forced to? What if they're innocent? Now, Mark, I'm assuming that there's light in that room. Otherwise, I wouldn't have that kind of range of sight.
There is light emanating from the center of this chamber, not to mention light emanating from these statues themselves. Thalion, you look, and underground here, you see a massive, massive oak tree. As you look upon this distance, you're trying to get a better perspective at the people, and you can sort of see and catch glimpses of the members of the Ordo de Nuo. Each one standing within this inner ring. Each one sort of standing slack-faced, looking up at this tree. On the outer ring, you see, sort of in supplication, the sort of noise of this chant. Some more of the cultists with their half masks. Give me a perception check.
I whisper to Thalion, do you recognize any of them?
Actually, you don't need a perception check. It's within 60 feet of you. You see, sort of tied to the bough of this tree, a very familiar form. A half-orc that you have not seen in quite some time.
Oh.
They have Kim.
Standing in front of Kem, you see a sort of tall, muscular person, combed back hair, clothes not seen much in the style of Brumana, but something familiar about him.
Is that Roger's brother?
It's actually Roger's brother's friend now that you kind of get a look at him, and you remember that this is the Nusaran, Radomir, that you met at dinner.
Well, they don't seem to have noticed us then.
Not yet, I don't believe. That's
Even with
awesome.
our light. I'm gonna drop my light then.
The chanting stops. Come! I have been waiting for you.
Thalion, I don't think we're gonna get the drop on them.
I know you are there since you opened the door. Thalion, as you step there, your face rebounds against an invisible force. And you put your hand on it and you watch as these sort of imperceptible ripples go out. The figure sort of picks up Kem's head, lifts up her chin, and then lays it back very delicately, very softly, as he begins to descend the steps.
Release her.
And he comes and he stands on the opposite side of the barrier. And there you see the imposing force in sort of his full regalia of Radomir. The Duke's sort of confidant and friend that you met briefly at dinner, who shared war stories with you, Thalion. He was very interested in your own adventures and what you've done, in your prowess and in your strength.
Why are you doing this?
I do what must be done. This is for the betterment of the world, so future generations can live in peace without worry of destruction.
Last time we had this debate with someone, they weren't thinking about the future of other beings. They were talking about wiping everyone out.
Did you truly listen to what he said? Or was it only your misconceived judgment of your heroic notions of the people you so loved to read about, that you must stop what you perceive to be evil at all costs, even though it could be for the greater good?
Have you stopped to think that there might be another way working with the current people?
Has that way worked for the past hundreds of years?
What is your intention? What is it that your ritual will unleash or hope to accomplish?
Oh, the man does not kiss and tell. Dahlia, give me a perception check. You notice through the haze, as now you're sort of scanning past Radomir as Zirak is sort of so you look up. Sitting up on a dais on two thrones are two individuals, each wearing the very familiar, somewhat familiar masks of the people you met and saw. Although not the same, quite different. To be quite honest, all of you have proven to be a nuisance, I think is the word you use here. This could have gone a lot easier if you had not destroyed my Reaper. You have a knack for stumbling into things that you just do not belong in. But I figured you could come. You can watch the rebirth of the world.
I have a vested interest in the arcane arts myself and would appreciate a closer look at your ritual. Might you remove this barrier from which you stand behind?
You are adorable, as you are young. But please, you think you can get me through such guys?
I shrug my shoulders. It was worth a try.
Do you want to earn the right to come within? Is that a test you wish to take?
If it involves taking the life of another, as it seems you are preparing to do to the half-orc up there, my experience with the arcane arts that draws the blood of another is always dark and evil. I do not wish to partake in that type of magic.
So you wish to earn the right to stop me? Stop us?
Indeed.
Well, I have no doubt that I could, if you were to test me.
Very well. Perhaps I will show you that just because you think maybe we kill her, that it is not what you think. You guys begin to watch the haze and shimmering begin to ripple around you as the air itself, almost in a very mirage-like way from heat, begins to encompass you as his form, Radomir, becomes blurry through, and you guys put your hands out, and you can feel that it's almost enclosing upon you, and you feel the air start to get hot, and you feel it start to get close. Automatically, just naturally, you begin to sort of hyperventilate a little bit from the panic of being cloistered, before eventually this loud, like sort of kettle-like crescendo of wind begins to blow before it eventually pops. You guys find yourself in a glade surrounded by what seems to be large, tall briars, floating intermittently between the briars, back and forth, resting on branches, these beautiful blue luminescent butterflies. Standing in front of you is the form of Radomir, dressed in plate garb, sword in hand, taking the measure of each and every one of you. Come, Let me see what you are worth.
Let's dance, you and I.
Do you guys want to stop here, or do you guys want to do battle for 10 minutes?
I vote battle for 10 minutes. Or
Sure.
possibly, I mean, I don't know how long this fight might take. It could be over in 10 minutes.
I don't know. He seems pretty powerful.
Battle for 10 minutes.
Okay, everybody roll initiative.
Yeah. I say we battle for Chem's life.
If I described Zurak as an NPC, he would seem powerful too. So there. That is, of course, until I told you how many hit points he had. Then you would all laugh.
And the fact that he has a negative in his strength, too.
Yeah, that he
Well,
does.
his spell-
And I
his spells is pretty powerful.
I
But his
did not
spells is
get my
pretty
fourth
powerful.
day of rest yet, so I am still at -1, and I used my book, so I can't even benefit from the help of my book. So
If Zeriak was
This
at
is-
chip cop shape, then he would be a formidable ally. I'm pretty sure he could take down at least two of us. If he were to ever go crazy.
he'd definitely take down Layla.
I don't know. Remember, she had like a +7 to her hits. So I'm pretty sure if she punched you, Zeriak would probably be knocked out unconscious.
Well, I do have my shield up, my arcane ward, so that protects me.
Okay, Zurak.
Oh, I get to go first. Okay. Well, I already have my mage armor on, so I'm going to reach to my left, touching my hand upon Thalian's weapon, whispering a few words of magic. I'm going to cast a spell on Thalian's weapon. And I'll stay right there. I'm not going to move.
Okay.
That will end my turn. I basically touch Thalian's weapon. It glows for a moment, and I say that it has enhanced strength and accuracy. Please do us the honor.
Thalian.
I nod to Zurich, and then spinning my halberd, charge the door.
And you see him standing there with his hands outstretched, sword in hand, and he's just sort of eyeing you with a smile on his face.
Oh, wait a minute, Mark. I misread that. That's actually a bonus action. So as my action, I'll just firebolt Radimir.
Okay. 24 hits.
Mark, that's actually only 6 damage. I have to remember to take 1 off my damages because my book is not active at the moment.
Okay.
I just didn't want to go and change every one of my attack spells.
No problem.
So I'll let you know the total is 1 less than what it will roll.
Okay, Thalian.
Here's my first.
Oh no.
Inspiration! Inspiration!
Thank you for reminding me. I want to use my
You're welcome.
inspiration.
Okay, so roll one more time. You get in and quickly adjust your grip, and his sword comes out, and with just one hand, stops your halberd in midair. And he just looks at you and smiles.
And that would be 16. It still blocked me.
He stops your sword in midair. As I described him wearing plate armor.
I go into a spin, pulling the halberd free, and then I'm gonna strike the opposite end of the weapon, the blunt end. Yeah,
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Soon, you guys, it's the eclipse.
Yeah, I think we called it. The eclipse is sapping all of our luck away.
You have multi-attack at level 3?
It's Polar Mastery. I'm attacking with the blunt end of the weapon.
You're level 4 now?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh, I'm not level
Who else
4
is
yet.
Who else is level 4?
I am.
Oh wait, are we still level? Yeah.
Yeah, because we rested, so.
I thought
Yeah.
everybody was on the brink of level 4.
I'm not level 4 yet.
Illyria, and I guess Stallion. And I don't know if Druman is or not.
I think just Zarek and
Layla.
who were not level 4.
Mm-hmm.
Leveled up a while ago when after we fought the sand creature.
The pseudopods and the sand creatures. Yep.
Okay, Thalion, roll a d2. Okay, so your counterweight breaks off.
Okay.
So you go to flip and you go to use the counterweight to hit him, and he hits it with his sword, causing it to crack and break off, and you watch as the counterweight plops on the ground and kind of rolls. So you lose the +1 that you paid for.
Okay.
That's
And
+1 to attacks.
I roll back a little bit.
Okay.
And then Guard Shadow's gonna charge it. And he's doing the attack and then the pounce if it hits.
He still gets the magic weapon properties of the +1/+1, but the blacksmithing stuff that he paid for, since it's not a magically forged weapon using things of, like, there's no spells imbued into the wood to make it strong. It just feels lighter and stronger in his hands, allowing him that bonus. That's how I'm interpreting it.
Okay,
It does
that's
hit.
fine.
The 21 does hit.
Then here comes the bite from the pounce.
Do I need to make a saving throw before the pounce?
Yes, actually.
Because if I make the saving throw, he doesn't take damage or something?
I think I have advantage if he fails it because he was prone.
19.
Okay, he doesn't. And I fail with the pounce.
Okay. Elise.
I am going to shoot him with my bow. Yeah, Scar Shadow's too close. Hand crossbow, there. Or 16. Does a 16 hit? Or,
16 does not.
Wait, I'm so confused. Was it my turn, or was it still Thalion's?
It is your turn. Your 16 does not hit. It wasn't enough to break through his armor.
Okay. And then I'm going to move there and stay right there.
Okay. Valeria.
She's gonna go 5, 10, right about here. And she is going to cast 2. So,
Okay.
yeah. But I don't.
He has advantage on saves against magic.
Oh, okay.
Is this a wisdom saving throw? Charisma saving throw?
Yes.
22.
Yeah, he makes it.
Okay, so you
And as
call out to him, but the magic just doesn't want to seem to take effect on him.
Okay, so magic's a no-go. Alright, she's just gonna, ready her. Well, yeah, she's just that's it. That's all she's gonna do. That's the end of her.
Okay, it is Radomir's turn. As he sort of shrugs off the magic, he locks eyes with you, Thalion, as he begins to roll around Garshadow. And he looks at you and he says, "What kind of hero runs away from a fight?"
Before he gets in the 5-foot spot, because I can use action and
No problem. Go ahead. "12 misses as he ducks underneath. And you watch, it's almost supernatural speed as he comes up. His first attack, since your last attack on him was a critical fail, has advantage. 21.
No.
Take 13 points of slashing damage. Well, it should be 2-hand, not 1-hand. And he's going to follow up with 2 more attacks. These ones are normal. 20. For 7. And 12, which I assume misses.
Yeah, that misses.
Okay, Drummond.
I'm gonna have to use this turn to activate the wings. And
Okay.
I'll go 50 feet.
Okay, so you're hovering 15 feet in the air.
Yep. I think he uses my action to activate the wings, so I'm gonna have to use that. That's the.
Okay. That's the end of your turn. You're going to stay there.
Yes.
Top of round 2, the layer actions take effect. I need everybody to roll 1d4. Valeria, Elise, I need a 1d4. Marcy? Okay. Valeria, all of you begin to feel the ground beneath you sink as you guys are getting sucked into the ground, almost like peat bog, as you vanish.
I'm flying.
You can't help it. I designed it
Okay.
this way. You'll see. Valeria,
Okay.
you emerge in a desert-like area.
Oh.
You look in front of you and you see a small, hunched creature running at you at great speeds.
Oh.
Two.
Should I roll for Guard Shadow?
He's going with you. It makes it easier. Thalion, Dromond, Elise, you pop out in what seems to be a grassland-hilled area with trees, what seems to be a ritual circle and a campfire in the middle with what seems to be a very insectoid-like creature next to the fire that catches your appearance and begins to raise up, exposing mandibles. Zirak, you pop into darkness and feel that your feet are wet. It smells of stink. Yet ahead there seems to be a glowing light floating around a mangrove tree. You find yourself in a very darkly lit swamp. And that's where we're going to end today.
Okay. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around.
I'm glad I got to at least there. Yeah, you guys managed to group up pretty well, except for two people.
Eh.
Valeria and me are both like on our own. That's scary.
Where are the teenagers? We need parental guidance.
Exactly.
So just imagine, Valeria, you're now sort of stuck, surrounded by this white, cloudy, grayish fog. And directly in front of you, running at you, is this small goblin-like creature with weapons drawn. And Zirak, you just see this orb of light floating around this gnarled mangrove tree in the middle of what seems to be a swamp. So this is a new sort of mechanic layer action I've been playing with, and hopefully it's enjoyable.
That guy hits hard. If I wasn't me with the high HP, he probably would have killed anyone else.
Yeah. I mean, it was a challenge. You have to challenge him for the right to stop it, he said. And you're very brusquely and very arrogantly said, yeah, I'll take you on.
Yeah, I let my ego run away with me a little bit, but that's why I made Thalion's weapon magic, because I figured he'd back me up and beat the crap out of this guy, but that didn't go the way I planned it. I probably should have given Valeria the magic weapon, because every time I give her the magic weapon, she kicks ass with it.
So your
That's what Jinx
Polar
said.
Master, the damage is only 1d4?
Yeah, it's 1d4 plus my strength.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm doing a crazy... Well, the only reason why I'll look like a lot is because I have that high strength.
And it does use his bonus action, Mark, so if he can't use it for something else.
I don't think you have much bonus action except...
I don't.
Yeah, because you don't use spells.
Well, are you a fighter, Thalion?
You ask this every time. No, I'm not a fighter.
He's a ranger, but he wants to
That's
roleplay
right.
that he doesn't use magic, but poultices.
That's
And the only time he will use magic is to heal Guard Shadow. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, you guys, I'm glad I got you at least to this point of the fight with the big bad. So you guys were so close, and then you guys wanted to leave, and I didn't want to stop you. I should have just stopped you, and you could have got more into the fight. It's my fault. But you guys found some clues.
No, this is a good cliffhanger to leave us on. we're all separated. That's scary.
I really wanted to try this out, though, so that's why I built this fight like this. But yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hopefully nobody else dies.
Fingers crossed.
Tuesday.
This is intense.
But he is a very tough opponent. You guys have a week to sort of plan out any strategies that you guys have, if you guys want to do so. But you pretty much challenged the guy that was controlling the entire room of cultists to a fight. So he's got some shit.
Yeah, you got me worried now.
If you guys want, and you guys are that nervous, I can send you the previous sessions, last session's XP. And if that gets you to 4, you can hurry up and level to 4 before the next session. And that way you guys are at least 4, and there's more of you that are level 4, since a lot of you did level up, apparently. So,
Do it.
unless you guys just want to stick with what's going on and just ride the wind.
Zero needs his power.
This guy's going to be fucking tough. That's all I got to say. Yeah, and we'll give Xerac some extra health points. So tomorrow I'll send you guys... was it Xerac? I'll just send all of you guys the XP, and then that way you guys can just add it on. Oh, I don't think you're going to have that much. I think, yeah, it was the death cut to the XP that you had. I think that was the killer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hit level 4, so I don't need any. That's fine. I'll finish this fight. I'll be level 4 probably after this.
Oh, you're going to have a lot of XP after this. Valeria, are you level 3 or level?
I'm level 4.
Yeah, so everybody's level 4 except Xerac.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Well, right on. Thank you, everybody. I'll see some of you Saturday, and then I will see the rest of you next Tuesday.
Okay,
Yep.
All right. Good night, everybody.
We'll see how this goes.
Night night.